In this video, we'll talk about Mediterranean NATO. In the Eastern Mediterranean, a quiet alliance is forming among three countries, which is being called Mediterranean NATO. These three countries are Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. Recently, we have seen a strategic triangle taking shape among these three countries. These three countries have formed a NATO-like alliance. Now, because all three are Mediterranean countries, their alliance is being labeled Mediterranean NATO. However, this is not a formal military alliance like NATO. NATO's Article 5 guarantees collective security, but there is no such provision in the Israel-Cyprus-Greece axis. There is no provision that an attack on one country will be considered an attack on all three countries, like we see in NATO. So even though the axis of Israel, Cyprus, and Greece has been given the name Mediterranean NATO, this alliance is not a formal military alliance. It is just that these three countries, due to their shared interests, have decided to increase military coordination, planning, and joint action. Basically, they will function like an alliance. These three countries will enhance military interoperability with each other. They will train together and plan together. They will function in the way alliances usually do. Now, as we know, Israel and Cyprus are not NATO members. Greece, however, is a NATO member. So Greece can bring NATO-level standards into the partnership among these three countries. The experience and coordination of NATO member Greece will strengthen this trilateral group. Now obviously, if these three countries are coming together, there must be a strategic purpose. There must be a common interest. This strategic purpose has not been openly stated. But if you have even a basic understanding of geopolitics, you would have already understood by now that these three countries want to counter Turkey together. It wouldn't be wrong to say that an axis of Israel, Cyprus, and Greece is forming in the region to counter Turkey. Turkey, as we know, is a major player in the region. Turkey has the second largest army in NATO. It is continuously expanding its navy. When it comes to air power, Turkey's arsenal includes several advanced drones. When you combine all these defense capabilities with an assertive foreign policy and the personal ambitions of Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan, what you get is modern-day Turkey. A Turkey that wants to revive the Ottoman Empire. Obviously, this is a strategic challenge for countries like Israel, Greece, and Cyprus. Israel's awareness of this strategic challenge can be seen from the fact that while forming an alliance with Greece and Cyprus, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu sent a signal to Turkey. He indirectly called out Turkey's neo-Ottoman ambitions. Without naming Turkey, he said that countries dreaming of recreating old empires should forget that dream. Clearly, Netanyahu's remark was directed toward Turkey. Therefore, to counter Turkey's growing influence in the Mediterranean, the Middle East, and beyond, Israel has formed this strategic alliance. Under this axis of Israel, Greece, and Cyprus, the three countries will increase air and naval exercises in the Eastern Mediterranean from 2026. They will deepen their defense partnership. In a way, an interoperable security bloc will be created. Increased cooperation will be beneficial for all three countries. It will enhance their capabilities. These three countries will be able to address conventional threats such as naval standoffs. They will also be able to address asymmetric threats such as drones and cyber attacks. Greece and Cyprus will benefit from Israel's military knowledge and technology. They'll be able to resist Turkey's assertiveness. Capabilities such as countering drones, dealing with electronic warfare, and conducting special operations will improve. Missile and aerial defense will be strengthened. Advanced weapons, systems, and shared technology will help in next-generation warfare preparation. Through joint military exercises and drills, a message of deterrence will be sent to Turkey. It is even being reported that these three countries are planning to create a joint rapid response force. This force will have 2,500 troops, with 1,000 from Israel, 1,000 from Greece, and 500 from Cyprus. Air and naval assets will also be part of this force. These troops will jointly protect critical infrastructure such as gas fields, undersea pipelines, energy platforms, and more. This joint rapid response force will be created to protect critical infrastructure from Turkey in disputed maritime zones. Israel, Cyprus, and Greece have been cooperating for quite some time. Since the early 2010s, energy cooperation among the three has been visible. The discovery of the Leviathan and Tamar gas fields, and even the Aphrodite field, laid the groundwork for energy cooperation. Discussions began on pipelines and shared infrastructure. As a result, around 2019-20, the Eastern Mediterranean Gas Forum was created. Israel, Greece, and Cyprus are members of this forum. Other countries such as Egypt, France, Italy, and Jordan have also been included. Interestingly, Turkey has been kept out. This has deepened regional fault lines. Turkey is quite uncomfortable with all this. It already has many disputes in the Mediterranean. There are conflicts over drilling rights. Turkey is unhappy with existing energy arrangements. There are also historical tensions. We know that in 1974, Turkey invaded Cyprus. Then Turkey also has clashes with Greece. These clashes are over airspace, islands, sea boundaries, and energy rights. Further, due to the Gaza war, relations between Israel and Turkey have deteriorated significantly. Trade between the two countries has been halted. So Greece, Cyprus, and Israel all share a common strategic rival, which is Turkey. The Mediterranean NATO, forming among these three countries, is a strategic alignment against their common rival, Turkey. This is military integration among the three countries. Together, they are trying to create a pro-Western, Israel-anchored security architecture that will contain Turkey's influence in the Eastern Mediterranean. We are talking about something called joint deterrence. At the same time, joint training will reduce the chances of Turkish intimidation. Increased interoperability will ensure faster coordination during crisis situations. Strategic depth will also increase. By strengthening ties with Cyprus, Israel's reach will expand. At the same time, Cyprus will receive protection from Israel. Cyprus views Turkey as an occupying power. This is because Turkey supports the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, which Cyprus rejects. Through partnerships with Israel and Greece, Cyprus will be able to stand against the Turkish threat. With Greece being a NATO country, it will try to bring in NATO standards in this alliance. Israel's presence will bring in military modernization. The dependence of Greece and Cyprus on traditional European suppliers will reduce, as Israel will step up and will become their key defense partner. Obviously, if this forming axis has some advantages, it also carries some risks and challenges. Naturally, Turkey will feel threatened. Even though it has not been officially stated, it is evident that Mediterranean NATO is being formed to contain Turkey. So Turkey will respond. We'll see more naval patrols from Turkey. We'll see more military exercises. Turkey will also increase diplomatic pressure. So the risk of accidental escalation near the Aegean Sea and Cyprus will increase. NATO unity will also become complicated. This is because both Turkey and Greece are NATO members. With the formation of this alliance, both will stand on opposite sides. Greece will be countering Turkey along with Cyprus and Israel. This can strain NATO's cohesion. That is why you will already see Turkish media calling this alliance an anti-Turkey alliance. It is being labeled as an axis of evil. Turkey is viewing Mediterranean NATO as a provocation. This is especially concerning when the region is already unstable. There has been a regime change in neighboring Syria. So obviously, when Turkey sees an alliance forming against it, its security concerns will increase. This will increase the risk of escalation in the region. We'll see an even more aggressive regional posture from Turkey. This is because Turkey is threatened by this structured and institutionalized security partnership. The axis of Israel, Greece, and Cyprus is a direct challenge for Turkey. This is a calculated and deeply strategic move by Israel, and it is being seen as a major geopolitical realignment in the Eastern Mediterranean. This significant shift could further increase tensions in the region.